Coming up next on the Breadwinning Mums.
Go for it. Go for everything. Take everything, that you can in life. Everything is available to you. Don't let the no's hold you back. Find a way. Dig deep. Feel the fuego, right? And just chase that. Chase that and just unleash the fuego. Allow that to come into your life in every aspect. Relationships, work, life, confidence, faith, whatever it is, just own it. You get one life. This is it. There's no dress rehearsal. And so live life to the fullest with your full fuego.
Welcome to the show. I'm Jane Lim. On the Breadwinning Mums podcast, we debunk the myths of working mums, cheer each other on, and show the world that it's okay to be a mum and still pursue excellence in your chosen area of expertise. Today we're chatting with Wendy Zveglic, a fellow married breadwinning mum with 2 sons, Aidan and Levy. Wendy is a senior manager of the solutions engineering at Salesforce. She shared with us her adventure of moving overseas as a young child and how this experience shaped her grit and resilience that would later help her in life. Here we go with Wendy Zveglic. Hello, Wendy.
Hi, Jane. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am well.
That's really good. You have this really bright smile on your face, which is always a good start.
Oh, well, what other option do I have? It's either you got to cry through
There's a myriad
life,
of other options.
Exactly. Or you just kind of go, okay, cool. This has come to me. Like, let me just enjoy and be in the moment. So yeah.
Nice. Awesome. I wish the listeners can see what you look like, but you're bright, not only bright in spirit, but also bright physically. So always, a really good way to start. Thanks for that.
I appreciate that. And you as well, glowing. You only see what you project. So you are also glowing, fellow queen, sister, boss woman.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. So can we start with you first, I guess? Would you mind telling us a little bit more about yourself, Wendy?
Yeah. So where do I start? My goodness,
start at the very beginning.
literally, where do I start? I think the story all starts with my mum migrating and coming out from South America, Quito, Ecuador, wanting to have a better future for herself and for the family she was going to have. So in a nutshell, I'm the eldest, and the favorite daughter, because I'm the only daughter, and then followed by two boys. So two brothers, and then now happily married, coming up to close to 20 years with my partner in crime, Anthony, so Anthony, with 2 children, right? Two ninjas. I call them ninjas because I'm like, stop it, your brothers. So Aidan and Levy, who are the love of my lives, and keep me on my toes. 2 fur babies, 2 sisters,
okay.
So they're my girls, because I had to kind of rebalance the energy in the house. Exactly. I'm like, I can't be by myself over here with all this madness. And in terms of walks of life, in terms of opportunity and work, I've been lucky enough to have started my journey starting as a teller, just as a summer intern, like before I start uni and be sensible and make money, instead of traveling the world, I'll go and work, and then I will go and do my accounting and financial planning studies.
Yeah.
Because I'm sensible and I'm like the firstborn and the obedient one, right? And pivot twist, I ended up staying for the summer and creating a career in banking and finance, having babies, leaving the industry, changing companies, and now I'm in tech. I'm lucky enough to be working for one of the global biggest tech companies, and I pinch myself on the daily going, I'm here. And I'm lucky enough to lead a team of engineers, and they do incredible things. So yeah, that's a little bit about
Amazing.
me.
Yeah, just a little, not
Just a
not too
little.
much. Yeah. So your mom came here before she had the children,
Yes,
or were you born
she.
in Ecuador?
No, I was born here. The three of us were born here. We migrated and lived back and forth through the States and South America throughout our lives. We
Oh,
moved to
wow.
Ecuador a couple of times to relocate. At the age of 12, my parents were like, we're
Ah,
done with Australia. We missed
yeah,
being around
yeah,
family and friends and our culture.
yeah.
And so we literally packed up and we
Mm.
moved everything over to Quito, Ecuador. And
Wow.
at the age of 12,
Yeah,
I call it tartamuda, like I could not speak, write,
yeah,
or read Spanish. And
yeah,
it was a tough summer. I could see
yeah,
people playing and I'm like, I can't even play because I can't even
yeah,
say, pass me the
yeah,
ball.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
Wow.
yeah,
How long were
yeah.
you there for?
We lived there for close to 3 years.
Okay.
And I think when I look back, I kind of go, it was a defining moment in my
Yeah,
childhood, in my life, to kind of go, 12's already a difficult time in
yeah,
life. You're
yeah,
pre-tween, and
yeah,
everything gets on your nerves, and all of a
yeah,
sudden you're thrown into the deep
yeah,
end where
yeah,
you know nobody, no one knows you, and you can't even communicate. And yet something within deep inside of you has to kind of go, I have to find a way forward, and this
yeah,
is my new space, and how do I make it work? And I
yeah.
think that, when I think back, really has served as an anchor point, but a
Mm,
defining moment, and a chance of great characteristics that serve me well in my life
mm,
and career. Because
mm.
no matter what, everything could shift, everything could be taken away. Like you could literally be square one,
Yeah,
page zero, blank
yeah,
canvas.
yeah.
No one knows you,
Mm.
and you got to find a way forward.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
really interesting that you mentioned that,
mm,
because I moved here. So I was born in Indonesia, but I moved here when I was 12 as well.
there
And
you
I had
go.
to learn that new language, new culture, making new friends, and same, like similar experience in that I couldn't really communicate. So I became
Yeah.
this really introverted kid. I had to really watch what people do, what people say, and but also their body language. I became a
Uh-huh.
really good observer of
Yes.
people. And I think what you mentioned before really resonated with me, in that it really teaches you to be resilient, to be adaptive, to be just grow outside of yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like what a lesson. Like, when I look back, it was so hard. And now I kind of go, I would change nothing, because
Yeah,
it's defined the characteristics,
yeah,
resilience, empathy,
exactly.
connection,
Mm,
looking beyond the nuances.
yeah,
Who
yeah,
are you as an
yeah.
individual, and how do you show up? And
Mm,
so isn't it funny, Jane? Like you've had the opposite, and yet
yeah.
that when you think back, there'll be like lessons that have been weaved throughout your career and your life, and who you are as a trait of an individual, right? So
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Awesome. Did you see your brothers learning similar things, or did they take it? Because different people take different perspectives, right? Even with the same environment, same mixture of people. Do you think that they learned similar skills out of that time as well?
I don't That's a really great question. I've never really thought of it, right? I kind of go,
Mm,
it's a different experience, and maybe I'm talking close to 30 years back. Like in South America, it's very much like back then it used to be very culturally, the female must be obedient and must learn all these
mm,
things and needs to be
yeah,
responsible. And
yeah,
my brothers were like, just played, and they were boys, and they were allowed
yeah,
to, um
yeah,
allowed to play out and rough and be out, so it's just different.
yeah,
And so and they were a little bit younger, between the ages are a little bit, there's a 2-year gap and then a 4-year gap. So they were much smaller. And so maybe it was easier for them to learn and adapt. I don't know. Like they didn't have to go to school. They were like in childcare like ages. They kind of were more at home versus like you have to go to school.
Yeah, you spend like 6 to 8 hours in a foreign environment. Yeah. I see. Okay, all right. So you're married to Anthony for 20 years now.
Coming up to 20 years next year.
Wow, huge achievement. Tell us, how did you meet?
You know what, like it is an achievement. Thank you. How did we meet? My goodness, we were working at one of the banks, and I remember moving into a new business unit, and I was meeting everybody on the day, and he was like, who is this loud person that has arrived into our suite? And I'm like, and I remember kind of meeting him, and from the very beginning, we just kind of hit it off. And I was like, oh, like, so you know a lot about stuff, so you need to teach me about these things. And we became friends. And I think, for close to 14 months, he'd be like, hey, we should go out. I'm like, yeah, we hang out all the time, like with work friends. But he's like, no, it's just like you and me should go on a date. And I'm like, that's never going to happen, because I don't date people that are, not South American or Spanish. In my mind, it was like the fairy tale, the checklist, have to be Spanish, have to be of my faith, and I will never date someone that I work with. And literally that list just blew back up in my face. For 14 months, we were really good friends. We traveled, like we got to know each other. And I, throughout that period, I fell in love with him without not knowing. And I think in denial to myself. And then just after the one kiss, it was like, this is it. He's my soulmate, and he's my partner in crime. And so we dated for, he pursued me for 14 months. He goes like, I did not give up because I knew that she was worth it.
Wow.
We kissed, we dated for a little while. On my birthday, he proposed, and literally 5 months later we were married, and so I think with Anthony, he's a partner in crime. There's times where he's seen the good, the bad, the ugly, the tough days, but he's my partner in crime. And I think, when I look at how am I doing life and what have I achieved and what journeys and chapters have I crossed, he's the consistent one. Like he's been the constant, and he's the one that sometimes has had to kind of go, that totally sucks. Now it's time to get back up and like, let's go. And he brings out, like another level of me. He tests my patience. And sometimes I'm like, I see you and you're stretching me to grow in new ways.
Did
you
say
I'm
that
just
to him
lucky.
at the moment?
I'm lucky. I'm a lucky man. Sometimes I'm like, you're lucky, but I'm luckier too, right? So I think it goes both ways.
So I assume that you share different faiths then, or does he not have?
Yeah, we were both Christian, but I was more into my faith and practicing, and very like my Christian life is a big part of my life, and we go to church on Sabbath, and observe the Sabbath and do a lot of things in that spirit. And Anthony was born Roman Catholic, and they were like, how dare you, his parents were like, how could you leave the Catholic faith? And so we were sitting down with them and going, actually, this faith is the same, it's Christian, but it's just much more. We go beyond just the Easter and the Christmases. We really indoctrinated in our every week, in our every day, in our every moment. And so we kind of went, it's not a bad thing to have faith in God, or Buddha, or whatever you choose to do, but it's the practice of like being a good person. And I think once Anthony saw that and his parents saw that and understood that, they were like, oh, we understand, and so now as a family, the four of us practice the faith, and it's an additional family support, and that village helps us with our two boys, right? Because we're all facing hard times, and we're not subject matter experts. I can't get an MBA on my kid and know what to say and how to say and how to
framework,
coach them and framework and train them and be parent to them. You just sometimes need the village and take all the help that you can get, right, with good people that know your kids and see your family and have aligned values. So it's been a big important piece of our life.
I grew up in church as well, and I think it gives
Jane, I love you even more. There's all these similarities.
Exactly, that we didn't cover before.
That's right.
No, I think it leads to it gives you a set of values that you can really stick towards whenever things get a little bit hazy, I guess, or tricky in life. But I think it is really important to have the kids involved in that upbringing, in that value, in that practice as well from a young age, because then when they see mom and dad, when they see aunties, uncles do that, then they know what to do when it's their time as well.
Exactly. And you're right, there's spicy times in life, and you have different influences, and I think it's really important to kind of go, what is right, in terms of, like I say, as a human being, what's the right thing to do? How do you show care, empathy? That kid got in trouble, how could you have supported or showed up, right? They were cheating, I didn't get picked, it's not fair. I get it, right? And so it's it helps you anchor in those life lessons as well. All right, well, what's Siri's saying I don't understand. How does it help you anchor forward and sometimes see that there's a reason why things happen, and always it always works out if you do things with the right intent and with the right heart. You will get your reward, maybe not then but later. And so
and that this world is more than you, right? There's something that is greater than all of us.
That's it. That's it. And then and you can't sweat the small stuff, and we're here for a long time and a good time, but it's beyond that, right? And it was funny because a couple of weeks ago we were talking with my son. He's like, well, when I grow up, because he's in year 6, and they're talking about what will you do when you graduate, right? I have to have a great job and make money and be rich. And I was like, well, you doesn't have to, it's not just always about rich money wise, rich in experience, rich in life, rich in kindness, rich in traveling, rich in letting the people that are around that you love them, rich that you've helped, rich in different things. And so they were like, oh, okay. And I'm like, so it just helps you, right, anchor back and go, be grateful for the blessings, but also be grateful for what is to come.
Exactly. And be blessings to others too.
Exactly.
Nice. Okay, so you mentioned about your boys. Tell us a little bit more about your motherhood journey. When did it start? So you have Aidan and Levi.
Yes. So I have Aidan and Levi. Aidan, truth be told, I was obsessed with Sex in the City, and I loved Aidan, hence his name, Aidan. But Aidan is a beautiful soul. My firstborn, and just different to Levi, right? And just kind-spirited. And just this week he got selected for leadership in his high school, to represent it. It was a proud moment, right? And it's like, yay. And parenthood is sometimes really hard, because you kind of go, am I doing right? Am I being too tough on them? And then the firstborn's always like we can't bollocks it up, right? We can't get it wrong. And then you have these moments, these slithers of like, oh my gosh, we must be doing something, and that cheers you on. So Aidan is he's very funny, very sassy, coming up to 15, but he's also big in nature, but also a beautiful soul and a kind heart. And then I have Levi, who is just
challenges you,
challenging, but like incredibly strong and bold and fearless. And he's from little, right, he's been left-handed, and even that was like, wow, everyone's right-handed, that's taboo, when they were trying to hold his hand back, trying to tie it down. I remember my mother-in-law, and I was like, he's like, something's wrong with me. And I'm like, no, you know what? You are just different. And that makes you even more beautiful, because guess what? You're the only one in the entire family You got picked to be the lefty. Nobody on my side, my brothers, my mom, my dad, nobody on dad's side, uncles and cousins and mom, Nana and Poppy.
Yeah.
They're not left-handed. So you were special. And so I think it's like, I see sometimes when you're a second kid, it's a hard act to follow, right? Because it's like, well, your brother or your sister, you know, and so you have that responsibility of like, I always have to up or
live up,
or live up. And it's kind of like, no, you run your own journey, right? And you're going to be your own brilliant, you are already your own brilliant but different version of yourself. But they test me in different ways and they teach me different lessons. Levi, you know, teaches me huge lessons of patience and also of new chapters. And you know, Levi has been, you know, during COVID, COVID was really difficult as a parent, and it really, I feel like, leveled me up in different ways. It also meant that we discovered that Levi needed additional support and help, and he was diagnosed ADHD, and that was a really hard thing to kind of accept, because culturally, you know, it was like,
there was a certain taboo.
It's taboo. We don't like, we're just going to pray over it, or like that's just a phase and it'll just pass. And it was like, no.
It sounds like what my parents would say.
Totally, right? And so I was like, oh, I have to level up as a parent and sometimes challenge those mindsets for myself, for my family, for society, and make it okay and normalize it and go, he's different, right? That's cool. That's just how he just needs those additional supports. And once you have awareness, then my job as a parent, and I feel like coming out of COVID, is to bring awareness to that and go, there's nothing wrong. It's just different. And so how do we help them? And how do we make him feel like, you know, okay, it might take me a little bit longer. I have to do it this way. I can still get there. I just sometimes need to stretch my thinking and also stretch those around them, like in that are there to guide them, their teachers, their principals, the therapists, to just kind of go, these are the things that, you know, he needs extra help with, and or how do we consider how this lands for Levi? And so I feel like he's taught us, you know, the greatest lessons coming out of COVID. And I'm so proud of both of them for the dudes that they're becoming and the little men that they are. But I'm also a tough working mom. Like, I think, you know, I'm teaching them things that will serve them well for their future partners, you know, to be able to share the workload and to be like, hey, you're part of the family and we need you to, you know, to do your bit. Who can help out with the dogs, or who can help out with like putting a load of washing, you know, I need to teach you how to cook. You know, so things that when I didn't maybe kind of see growing up in my culture, I'm trying to redefine those chapters so that they become beautiful husbands or partners to my future family. There you go.
So you have two boys, and then you had a few miscarriages after that. Are you able to tell us your journey through that phase?
After Levi, we were blessed with the two, you know, and we were like, well, we got two, but I'd love a little girl. And I'm all things pink and girl and feminine. And I was like, and shoes and handbags. And I was like, I need to, you know, I'd love to have a little girl. Right. And I think it's every little girl's dream to have a girl, right? For me, and we tried, and, you know, we fell pregnant, and two times we got, you know, 20 weeks in, 14 weeks in, and we lost the baby. And it was a tough moment, you know, tough to kind of go, what's wrong with me? Why can't I carry all the way through? I've done it before. Like, and so you have all these, you know, guilt and like, I'm doing, you know, maybe I'm prioritizing work too much, or maybe I should be a better mom. That's why I'm not getting another child, and all this blame, right? And so unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. And then the doctors and the specialists sat down with us and went, hey, you know, if it's really important, then the next chapter would be looking at IVF and different sorts of, you know, fertility plans and treatments. And Anthony was like, listen, whatever you decide, like, I will it's your
He's
decision,
in.
right?
Yeah.
It's very taxing on you. And I had to wrestle with that for a while and pray about it and sit with it. And as much as I wanted to kind of, because I'm an overachiever, I'm like, I don't want to let anybody down. I want to be able to do it. I had to kind of go, do I have it within me after the 2 losses? Do I have it within me to try with no guarantees? And what emotional tax will that have on me? And so I remember, laying on the ground after the second loss, and everyone was like, like, oh, this moment will pass, it'll be yours. And society always asks, like, now you've got the 2 boys, you really need to go for the girl. And I had to be like, I had to mourn the loss of the baby girl I was never going to have, and that was really hard.
Yeah.
And I remember laying on our veranda and surrounded by the 2 dogs, and Anthony and the boys were playing in the playground, and I just was like, it's not going to happen. And so I had to kind of make it was a time where I just went, well, they're not with me on earth, they're around me, but I will live, joyously, fearlessly, boldly, and I'm going to make them very proud to kind of go, if I had had a daughter, all the things that I would have wished for her, I'm going to do through myself. And so it was a hard moment to mourn the loss of those 2, and to also close that chapter, but to also birth the opportunity of like, okay, you're going to mother up and you're going to do really great stuff with your 2 boys, but you're also going to explore more with your own life and career and womanhood and as a human being. And so tough
Thank you so
lesson,
much.
but strong.
Thank you so much for sharing that journey and so candidly as well. Yeah, I agree with you. I think every woman wants a daughter. And just hearing you say, it's the mourning that daughter that you'll never have. And I think I have 2 kids myself. First one is a boy, second one is a girl. And I think if the second one had been a boy, I would have gone for another one, because I'm not sure, but it's probably embedded in us. And one of the reasons why I created this podcast, I went for the MBA, I went to work, is to show her, that we can be that person, and that I would love her to be that person. And we shouldn't use motherhood as an excuse not to live to our fullest potential. So really kudos to you for turning and reframing that whole experience. You have grieved. It must be a terrible experience to have. I had 2 miscarriages myself before I had my first one, but it was early. So I probably didn't have that much of a connection as you would. I mean, 20 weeks is a long time. You would have passed, the first few months. So you would have felt connected. You would have felt some growth in it, right? So you have felt the life within you. And then to have those 2 incidences just come out of you would have been a really sad time to have. But for you to be able to reframe that and use that, to really propel your own self and to create that example, not only for that daughter that you'll never have, but also for your sons and maybe for your future granddaughters as well. You could tell them Nana was this go-getter achiever, and you could be too. So
100%. And I absolutely, Jane, like the losses, it all counts at the end of the day, right? You just kind of go, grandmama is gonna be fierce and fabulous and spoil that grandbaby like nobody's business. And I'll be like, oh, don't you dare stop me, okay? Because I've been this is like 2 decades in the making. And so I can't wait. And if that doesn't play out with a granddaughter, then I'm at this point that I kind of go, I have everything that I am meant to have. And one day I'll have the answers and the reasons why. But you're right, becoming a mom wasn't the end of the chapter, right? It's not about like, well, then that's it, life over, shelf, right? It's like, no, I'm doing it for myself, and to keep defying the odds and going, so what, you got married, cool, you want to have kids, cool, hey, you're gonna it's really hard but you still want to work, cool. What does that look like? And also advancing progressing your career and even your own personal growth and challenging yourself to study. And I mean, like, kudos to you. Like, that fires me up to kind of go, yes, like, life's not over. We've still got maybe 40, 50 years in us. Like,
yeah,
right? We're
a long
not
time.
even, the best is yet to come. Right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So currently you're working for Salesforce, but you didn't start there. You mentioned before that you started in the financial services industry.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the transition?
Oh, so the transition came out of, again, a sad moment of heartbreak. The Royal Commission had hit my business unit. I was working in a division, BT Wealth, and where we gave wealth advice. And there was our CEO on the stand. And it was heartbreaking to see the industry that, had done so much and helped so many, had also let, a couple of people had let many people down. And so out of that sadness birthed the opportunity. Well, I was given the chance to work on some of the biggest CEO complaints, and it was heartbreaking to be sitting in front of people that lost everything, in their 80s, 90s, and like they couldn't go back and get another job. They couldn't sell assets because they'd invested, everything in the market. And for me, it was like, there could have been a better way. How could we have prevented that? And I came across an event that Salesforce was putting on about tech and the innovation, and from day dot I fell in love with what that meant and how that was helping companies. And so I pivoted my career. I left everything as a business leader in that space, and thought, when tech's only a powerful space, and when you know more, you can do more. And so I pivoted my career. I literally took on the most, I think, one of the most technical roles at Salesforce, and became a solution engineer in Fins. And again, it was like I arrived to Quito, Ecuador, when I was 12. It was like a foreign country, a foreign language, foreign people. And I had to level up, and I had to study, and I had to understand what the platform could do. And there'd be times where I don't know if you've watched that movie with Robert De Niro, like The Intern, like you feel like the oldest person. You feel like the dinosaur in the class. And people are like, oh yeah, cool. We've, chapter 1. And they're like, yeah, totally. And I'd be like, oh, I'm still on page 2. What? Let's go back. And so I had to study really hard, but and fail and then resit, certifications. But I tell everything is a story of my part of my story and triumph, right? I failed the exam once, came shy twice, and then went on to, pass 3 exams in 30 days, like unheard of. And they were like, how the hell on earth did she do that? Right. And so the change was wanting to grow myself, wanting to know more, to help more, and to come back and help an industry that had given me a career and had helped me become who I was. And so, when people kind of go, who are you? I'm like, from teller to tech. I came for the snacks, but stayed for the innovation.
That's a catchy slogan. I like it.
But it challenged me, and every day is different, right? And we're learning, with tech. I think it aligns to also, my personality traits of like wanting to know more and doing better, and going, oh, this didn't exist before. What would great look like? Let's create that. What does our vision look like? And so it hits a lot of the buckets of constantly being curious, growing and learning and being innovative, and kind of going, it doesn't matter where you start. Hard work, grit, resilience.
Yeah.
Anything's possible, right? So so there's my story. And I've to kind of when I think back, I listened to just even sharing this with you, I go, it was like I arrived to Quito, Ecuador again.
Yeah, awesome. And so what's the next 5 years going to look like for you work-wise?
Oof, great question. I'm going to run the world. No. Over the next 5 years, people ask, it's interesting. We always have like quarterly reflections and yearly reviews, and we're coming up to, and part of that is I always kind of go, my philosophy is always work really, really hard, have a lot of fun in what you're doing. And the role, I really kind of don't like being, put into you'll fit this next box. This is your trajectory. Because if you look at my history, it's so squiggly. It's like banking to then selling papers and pens to then leaving that and going to do something completely different, and then back to banking and financial planning, and then relationship manager, and then tech, and then engineer, and then leading, changing even from core to marketing, another specialized division, and then being a leader over there. So for me, it's like the squiggly, and it's like you can't predict it, but that's what also I think makes it exciting for me. And so I feel like do great work, and opportunities will open, and be open to them. But also I'm quite inquisitive, and I look for gaps, and I go, today that role doesn't exist, but we as a business need to do something in that space.
Awesome.
These are the attributes and the impact we could have. And by the way, I can actually do it really, really well, or it plays to my strengths. And so, when people ask me, well, what's the next 5 years? I kind of go, I don't know. I leave the chapter fluid. I know that when I first started at Salesforce, I think it was 3 months in, and they announced that Sydney was going to have a new tower. And I remember, getting like, it's beautiful. It's going to be one of the most, beautiful, iconic buildings in Sydney. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I'll be working there. It's a 3-year build. And I will promise myself that when I walk into that new building, I'll be walking into a new role that doesn't exist today, right? And doing something that creates a lot of fun, has a lot of impact, and actually drives a lot of value to our customers in our company. So yeah, watch this space.
Okay, I will. I'll check in on you. Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about your marriage, I guess, because anyone who's been married for more than a week knows that it's a challenging project, right? You always have to learn. You always have to grow. Has there been a testing time when you really had to stretch yourself and really go back to your values? Maybe not necessarily share us what happened, but what did you learn, and how did you go through that journey together, I guess?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, look, the goal is to get old with the person that you choose to share your life with. Yeah. And that when I said yes, it's like I say yes, I'm a one-time kind of girl. I say yes forever. And there's times where you just go, oh my gosh, who are you? And we're just in this rhythm of life of just work and kids and school and church and family, and you're just like in the motion. And it's like sometimes it's like I'm doing so much and you're doing so little, and I feel like you don't appreciate, or like. So I think there's been defining moments where we kind of go, we have to have really great and open communication and conversations, and say, I'm really struggling with this and I need your support, or I need your help, or I think we need to think about these things. Here's what I'm thinking. These are the things that are causing a lot of noise or worry. How do you see it? And things that I sweat over, like Anthony's like, what? It's not even a problem. We'll just check. We'll choose plan B then. Easy. And I'm like, bah, 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 bah. So I think, having a mutual respect and friendship really helps you go the long run. And you've got to also invest in that relationship. Like anything, it's work. It's work. If everyone said, as soon as you say yes, it's going to be rosy and pink and like amazing and rainbows and sunshine every day of your life, be like, you're dreaming. Like, what were you thinking, right? I remember when we were at our 10-year anniversary, Anthony, said, "Hey, I'd love to renew our vows." And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to say yes to you again. Jokingly, right? And we said it because when we were looking at wedding photos, the boys were like, "How come you had this big party? You didn't invite us, right? You guys got married." And we're like, "Because you guys didn't exist." And so we've done the 10-year anniversary renewal with them present in Hawaii.
Oh, cute.
And so I kind of always say to him, "Don't ask again. I don't know if the next decade you make the cut," right? But we joke, and I think it's really important that you evolve, and that you also take that partner on the journey of, like, the person that said yes to you 20 years ago isn't the same person. And if you don't continue to support and see them and evolve and change and challenge and hold, or sometimes correct or lovingly bring back onto the track, or sometimes let go and let them try, or let them fail, or let them do things on their own, then it's not a true, partnership and relationship. And so I love him deeply because he allows me to peel back different layers that I didn't exist in my mind. I grew up thinking that's what happens. You get married and then, the husband is the breadwinner, and, you stay home. And it was like Anthony was okay to allow me to challenge that status quo that I had been brought up with. And one of the biggest, lessons was when Aidan was just under 1. I was on maternity leave, Anthony was working, and then I had this huge opportunity and project that came my way, and they, a role presented itself. And our parents had said, "Have grandkids." And when we were trying to start a family, we also struggled to start a family. And then, by the grace of God, we fell pregnant. We'd planned this big holiday, and we were like, okay, over the next 9 weeks, we'll, really focus on falling pregnant. And I was very like, we're very achievers and like to-do lists, and we will accomplish. And and I remember going to the doctors for the last, tests, whatever. And she was like, "You're pregnant." And we were blown away by that. Anyway, fast forward, we have the baby, this great opportunity presents itself. And I was like, "Oh, my parents or your parents will like look after the little one." And the reality hit of like everyone was still busy living their lives, right? They're still working, they're still contributing into society. They live far, they were running farms, or they've got their own work.
And they forgot how hard it is to raise kids, and they thought, maybe not now.
maybe not now. And so I remember saying to Anthony, "Oh my gosh, well, babe, like, here's the thing. They both migrated to Australia with no family support, and they had to make it work." And I'm like, "So now it's our turn. We have to make it work. And what are we going to do?" So I'm going to pass on the opportunity, and the opportunity will come again. And he went, "No, you won't. This is an opportunity for you to go." And so he trailblazed back, I'm talking close to 15 years ago. He was like, "I'm going to take paternity leave or time off and be at home with Aidan for a whole year." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what are they going to say?" And even our parents were like, "What do you mean you're working and he's staying home?" Like, what? And we just had to go, "Well, it doesn't matter what they think. As long as you and me are good and we have a plan, then we got to make it work." And it's financially, personal development wise, it just made sense for our family. And so Anthony was brave enough to kind of go, "I'm going to cash in my chips of long service leave, all the leave he had under the sun, and be the stay-at-home parent." And kudos to him, right? I think he really, showed up and defied the odds at the mothers groups and the mums and bubs movies. And like, he'd be like, or the swimming classes where they only accommodated for change rooms for in a mum's room. And he was like, "Well, how am I going to do it?" And yet he found a way, right? And so that was really admirable. And, doing that really kind of supported and set the tone of how much he advocates and sponsors me, right, to be the best version of me, and never to lose out on opportunities. And also, but he also made use of that time, and he completed his MBA. And so we tag team, right? He'd be like, "Aidan's driving me nuts. It's been a tough day and I haven't done any of the laundry." And I'll be like, "It's cool, I got you." And so he would like leave. And so he had, I think it's that mutual journey aspirations, sharing your goals and hopes, being there for each other. If I was to kind of go, I can't believe 20 years, it makes me sound old, but it's also like one of the best, you're right, it's one of the best badges I can wear with honor to say, I didn't give up, and I choose every day to keep trying.
Do you have any certain rituals that you guys have stuck to or stuck with?
Our ritual is at least once a month. Let's try to go have a date night, and we've really kind of tried to honor and hold that space for us as a couple, but also as an example to our boys of like, because we say to them, they're like, oh, you guys going date night, and I'm like, yeah, exactly, because I'm like, y'all are going to grow up and we love you guys, but you guys are going to leave us, and then I'm going to be stuck with him. And if I don't know him and like him and hang out with him and just do life with him, then 10 years 20 years will go past, and then you'd actually, when they've left, who are you really left with, and do you actually really love that individual's company? And one of the when I see some of my older generation family friends separate after 50 years of marriage or 40 years, they stay together because of the kids, and I'm like, babe, that I don't ever want that to be our story. So we have to invest, and sometimes just a cheeky walk up at our local beach and a coffee, and we come back because I panic, it's a gradual thing, as like leaving the kids, or pulling in favors with the grandparents. You guys also have time with the kids, and we go to watch a movie or to have a dinner or to check out a new place, and so, or just sometimes staying home and watching something on Netflix, 2 episodes back to back without interruptions. Wow, what a date night, right? So it's just the simple things. So I think that's the rituals.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it goes beyond just enjoying each other's company as well, but you're setting a good example of what a good marriage should look like to your sons. Mom and dad are not just these 2 adults looking after us, but they actually like each other, they love each other, they want to spend time with each other. So good on you for doing that.
Thank you.
We try. All right. Yeah. Okay. Mum's guilt was one thing that we were talking about last time we caught up. Do you still have that, even though you're this go-getter trailblazer? Do you still have that, or have you quietened that voice down?
Oh my gosh, Jane, if I could bottle up some sort of essence from somebody and go like, you will never have a moment of mum guilt or imposter syndrome ever again, man, I would be buying that like nobody's business and then like selling it in slivers to people. I think it never leaves you, I think, right? But I think we get better at turning down the volume, and that comes with like, self-care. And during COVID, I kind of felt like, I remember once a week I would go for a run, really a jog / crawl / just move, walk on the beach, and then I would throw myself into the rock pool there, and I used to go, oh my gosh, this is so like selfish. And I remember doing 2 laps, and I'd be, little breath in me, but just trying to be like, just float like a dog, just get to the other end, right? And I remember going, it's so self-indulgent, to do this. And then I remember going, it's not self-indulgent if it's self-care. So it's not self-indulgent, it's self-care. It's investing into you. I choose to get up a little bit earlier than them. I then have this chance to go move my body, go for a swim, and then I come back so joyous. And so therefore then I'm happy to be around, and I'm a better mom. And so that there are moments like that. I don't have it perfected. It's a daily, weekly practice of like, how do I let go of that mum guilt? How do I show up and just say, hey, I'm really struggling with this, to sometimes my leaders or to my team or to a friend, And so when I talk it out, I then talk it out to myself or to those around me, then it kind of erodes and it reduces the noise and it makes it less taboo, and it also makes it less like silently suffering, or I need to be perfect all the time. I'm not. And the more vulnerable and courageous I am in actually calling out those things for myself, so many people think, totally, oh my gosh, that's how I feel. And I'm like, really? Okay, cool. Like, oh my gosh, I think it was just me. Like, you seem to have it all together. And they're like, no. And I'm like, so I think that helps with that self-doubt and the mum guilt. And and I think also hearing great podcasts and hearing leaders in the company and even external, especially working mums. And this is what inspired me when I heard Alyssa Green speak about her journey. It's like, that those moments of like, we're all, doing it really tough. So especially, women, especially sometimes immigrant women of color, women that didn't have all the privileges, especially working moms, right? And I think the way we show up and talk about it, it really helps the tribe, right? It helps the sisterhood, and that's really important. And so by doing more of those things, it helps for me, turn down that volume of shh, put her back away. You're doing a good job, keep going.
So if you can go back to your younger self when you were 12 years old and you're about to go, actually when you just landed,
yes,
right, what advice would you give yourself?
I'm getting goosies. I would say you're not going to have all the answers, and it may feel very, very scary. But you got this. And no matter what you face, and no matter what comes at you, you have you. And enjoy the journey. There's going to be good and bad. And when the hard bits come, they will hurt a lot. But every time every time you think you've made a mistake, it's actually ended up being one of your biggest lessons and gifts. And get ready for some adventures, some highs and lows, and get ready to go for everything that you want. And nothing can stop you, right? Everything's possible with hard work and determination. And if people are going to talk, let them talk, and let them be wrong about you. And just be really present and just really enjoy the gifts and the life that you have. And let all the little bits that form part of you, right? Your sabord, your Latin, your humble beginnings, let all of that serve you, because that's, I think, the biggest gift that you bring to the world.
Wow. I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Pleasure. Last question. What is your alpha mom song?
Woo! I have to say it's going to be something Latino, right? I'm like,
yeah. I was going to say, will it be a Ricky Martin song? Or
it'll be like, I do love me some J-Lo and Shakira, like, the hipster lie, I do love those ones. But I'm also a sucker, like growing up with the kids, right? So many like Disney and, I'm obsessed with, like, we love the movie Sing in our household. And I really love the...
Sing 1 or Sing 2?
Oh, I think it's on track 1. Oh no, sorry, it's track 2. It's the recent one. The right I'll have to come back to with the name of it, but it's
okay.
a sky full of stars. And
Oh, yep, yep,
I don't
yep,
know if
yep,
you've
yep.
watched it, right? But it's beautiful, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
against all odds, right? I pick you, I see you, you have the destiny of the stars, right? I love it. And in the movie, if you haven't watched it, go watch that bit. You can, there's a fighting scene, and it's just like just when he thinks it's like all over and he's lost the match, within him rises this like, not this time, man, it's my time. And so the fuego,
Yes.
burns within him, and he kind of comes back, and he actually shuts down the hater, and the
Yeah.
hater actually really respects and bows down to him, kind of thing. So very symbolic. I love that song, and my kids would be will watch it, and they'll be like, "Are you crying, Mum?" I'm like, "No, there's movies, there's Disney movies, they get me. Pixar,
Stupid
Disney,
koala.
yeah." Shh. I had something. I'm not crying. It's you crying. What are you talking about? But yeah, anything Latin, hips don't lie, or like the stars full of star, they're my jam. It's like,
Awesome. Oh, actually, I forgot about the fuego. Can you tell us a
Yes.
little bit more about that?
Ooh. Okay, well, Jane, literally, I think, growing up, I mean, I've always kind of been like the obedient, the most, like the good girl, the good daughter. And then a couple of years back, my husband invited me to an event, Tony Robbins, and they were
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you get to walk on fire. And I was like, that's not gonna happen. Like, first of all, like OH&S, and like my feet are very like marshmallows, and I don't like touching anything like weird. And I go and walk on fire, right?
You did. You
I
did it.
walked on fire. I walked on
Oh,
fuego, right?
wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I done it. And my husband, I remember that day going, because you're in this program, and like they're talking about it, and they're like burning this fire all day and then in the evening. And I'm like, and I had said adamantly, I'm not going to do it. And then on the day, as I was, going through the program, I'm like, I'm doing it. And he's like looking at me, and it's like every, half an hour, like, babe, are you sure you're gonna do it? Like, you sure? Like, I'm like, I already made like my commitment. I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
And so there's those moments where you're sometimes sitting in a room, or you're in a meeting, or something's happening, and you're just like, you feel this fire inside of you going, if I don't say something, I'm going to explode. So I'm like, that fuego, instead of like being scared of it, I now own it, right? And just this year, couple of months ago, I went and got my first stamp tattoo, and
Yeah.
and I was like, I reached out to the guy, and I'm like, so right, like, let's talk this through. Like, do I need to put numbing cream and like lots of pain killing and stuff? And he was like, what are you getting done? And I'm like, fuego, which means fire in Spanish. And it's literally like five letters, right, on my arm. And I was like, oh my gosh, panicking. It did feel like fuego, it was burning, but it kind of, again, my husband was like, he was in Fiji, he comes back, he goes, I cannot believe you done it. And I was like, I had to do it. So there you go, the chapter's never over. You just don't know. I surprised my damn self. I walk on fire, and I have it tattooed on me. My team name of with my work team is Team Fuego. And so it's like that fire, live with fire, with purpose. And I don't know if you've ever, if you look at fire, just a beautiful fire, even what's it called, like a fire pit, there's something alluring and magical, and yet it's so strong, and heat and caution, but also at the same time, it's symbolic. And so that's me, fuego.
I love it. What a badass queen.
I bow down
so
to you
much.
too, Jane. You're also a weapon.
Great. All right. So for all of those breadwinning mums listening to us today, what one last message would you share to them?
Oh, last message for the day. Go for it. Go for everything. Take everything, that you can in life. Everything is available to you. Don't let the no's hold you back. Find a way, dig deep, feel the fuego, right? And just chase that and just unleash the fuego. Allow that to come into your life in every aspect. Relationships, work, life, confidence, faith, whatever it is, just own it. You get one life. this is it. There's no dress rehearsal. And so live life to the fullest with your full fuego.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Wendy. I really appreciate it. And I hope we can catch up in person, because
I hope so. I feel like there's so
Yeah.
many synergies. I'd love
Yeah,
to. I'm
that's
Sydney
right.
based, so you let me know. I will always make time for a good coffee. I saw you sipping coffee. I hope it's
Yeah.
coffee, or is it a chai latte or something?
No, it's coffee. Yeah, I
Mm.
love my coffee first thing in the morning.
Done. Well, let me know. I would love the opportunity just to be and I think as we get older, right, it's kind of like, oh, just wait for her, like, she's obviously got her own thing happening, or like, and it's like, no, you know what, when you find certain people that you connect with,
Yeah.
and there's a synergy, I just
Yeah.
love being around people like that will
Yeah.
level me up in different ways and go, oh
Yeah.
you're facing the same thing, oh shit, okay, cool, me too. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool, how you dealing with this? Oh, you're and so super keen to foster great relationships and friendships and
Perfect.
support each other, women with their messaging and the impact that you're trying to have. So thank you. I think if you can even include that, but thank you for the impact and what, by you even just holding this space of the podcast, amazing. It allows us to connect, to be seen, to be heard, to allow our voice to be shared, and for others to resonate and go, oh my gosh, me too. And I can't thank you enough, Jane, for doing what you're doing, because I was so inspired from listening to your other podcasts, and I'm like, if I can share my story and it helps you, amazing. And if I can, hopefully it inspires someone else to come forward and be brave to share their story, because we've all got just different flavors, right, of stories. It helps you connect with more women and have a bigger impact. So absolutely, kudos to you. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for the hustle. Thank you for finding the time, because it's always extra work. And you just lit up my fuego. And so yeah,
thank you.
make sure you put that in the podcast, please.
I will.
and and we'll do coffee, and we'll absolutely do coffee or a meal. Please let me know.
Okay, definitely. Perfect.
All right.
Thanks, Wendy.
See ya.
Have a good one.
Ciao. You too.
Bye.
Bye, Jane. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Breadwinning Mums. Please subscribe and leave us some feedback so we can continue to make the show better for you. If you know a fellow breadwinning mum, please share the show so we can cheer each other on. Until next time.